Alright everyone, Allan Lichtman has decided to flee Twitter. Formerly known as Twitter, currently known as X, but everyone calls it Twitter anyway. Link in the description, not archived of course. I was looking at this story and I was chuckling to myself because Lichtman is actually following along in a path, a very, very dark one for political statisticians, that actually has happened before. I've spoken of it. 2012 election. What did Karl Rove do on election night when he was confronted with the fact that his cherry-picked cooked polls were wrong? He was on Fox News at the time. Of course. Yes, indeed. What did he do? He storms backstage as soon as Ohio is called for Obama, and he goes apeshit. Like, they cut to a commercial break, and then it's just literally like 10 minutes of Karl Rove berating other people, asking them why they called the race. He couldn't understand what was happening. The problem is that his overall format, if it was unperturbed, would have worked. He would have understood that Obama was going to win the election. But he cherry-picked the polling data. He artificially demoted or promoted different polling firms at that time, and so he got it wrong. The same happened to Allan Lichtman. Lichtman deserves credit for his 13 keys. The overall scheme itself, that is the actual, the way in which he judges who's going to win the election, if you retroactively apply it properly to past elections, all the way back, goddamn, more than 50 years, is actually really, really good. There would have been only one miss in that entire period. The 13 keys itself works. Lichtman's work is fundamentally good. This is where I disagree with Cenk, by the way. Cenk calls him out the other day and gets Lichtman all wired up, and he starts pointing fingers and going crazy and talking about personal attacks and insults and stuff like that. Not a good look. We'll get into that in a moment. The 13 keys, though, themselves are not the problem. As I pointed out several times over the course of several months, the problem is the misinterpretation of those keys. That is that Lichtman was looking at his 13 keys, would have understood originally Donald Trump is favored to win. But he didn't want Donald Trump to win. And so he concocted reasons in his mind as to why the keys were effectively inapplicable. He was ignoring his own system. He goes off with Cenk. I mean, for like 5 minutes, they're rambling back and forth. Here's the problem. For example, let's take a couple of the keys just as a sample here. One of the keys to the White House is a major foreign policy success. So if the incumbent administration, that would be Kamala, had some sort of major breakthrough within diplomacy or something like that, he gave that to Kamala. I couldn't understand why he was doing that because there is no foreign policy success. It doesn't exist. I was wondering about that. That was the most confusing of all. Another one, avoidance of a major foreign policy or military disaster. He gave that one to Kamala Harris. But she's part of the administration that reigned over the Afghan withdrawal. Effectively, it was nothing more than wishful thinking. That's basically what Allan Lichtman fell prey to. It's sad for him. So now he's decided to flee Twitter, go to the echo chamber over on Bluesky, which is literally a hell pit echo chamber. I've checked it out this morning as well. I figured, well, maybe more people have piled in. You know, everyone's talking about Bluesky right now. Maybe there are sane people that are actually gravitating over there. No, there's no sanity whatsoever. Go to the news, current events, politics, anything like that over on Bluesky. What do you see? It's literally a trash fire. It's a dumpster fire of bullshit. It's Brooklyn Dad, Filikowski, and a few others, and that's basically the entire website. So again, as I talked about the other day with the quartering, on the Quartercast, I don't think that site will even be around in 6 months. It's going to crash and burn. It's going to die. It'll become a zombie site, or it'll collapse outright. So, I mean, if Lichtman wants to flee there, that's perfectly fine. But the other problem that I have is that when Lichtman specifically decides to rage quit Twitter, Elon Musk's site, and go to Bluesky of all places, or Threads, or any of these others, isn't he admitting what people said actually about him during the election, which is, hey, you've lurched off into liberal land, You're misinterpreting your own format, and that's really your problem. Well, I mean, he couldn't pick a more liberal site to go on. Bluesky, goddamn, they're abusing the Babylon Bee right now with their moderation policies. It makes absolutely no sense. None of it makes sense at this point. These people aren't playing with a full deck. They're not even playing with a card. And the thing is that Lichtman's response was exactly the opposite of what he should have had. He went Karl Rove mode. He gets all red in the face and says, no, my format is perfect and you just don't understand, you're a piece of shit, basically. What I would have done is admitted that my format is perfectly fine, but I misinterpreted it. That is, it's just human error. That's all he had to do. It would have been passable. In fact, it would be true. I would believe him. Lichtman's format overall worked if you apply it properly. The problem is he misapplied it. He doesn't seem to understand this. It's rather sad. That's about all. Peace out.